Cord, Thomas.
Call to order, City of Oak Hill Charter Review. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Joanne Welch.
Here.
Charlie Dean.
Here.
Tom Pence.
Here.
Larry Cummings.
Here.
Carrie Warning.
Here.
Ron Engel. Derwin Smothers. Richard Taylor.
Here. All right, everyone, make sure your phone's on silent. The last meeting I listened to, there was at least 4 or 5 or more phone calls. We have minutes to review for the last 2 meetings, which was March 6th and March 13th. We missed February 14th, but they were not sent out, so we will go back over that next week to approve.
On the minutes of March 6, it says the mayor, Vice Mayor Landau sent a recommendation to the committee and suggested commissioners should get reimbursed for their travel time. And it really should have reimbursed for travel time outside the city.
Outside the city.
Yeah, because when you read it, it just says,
It's not travel time. It should be reimbursed for their mileage,
yeah,
not travel time. They already get paid per month, so much.
so that needs to be corrected on the minutes because it says travel time.
Right.
His letter said I need to reimburse for mileage outside the city. That's when you buy it, well, you already get reimbursed for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it also, I discussed in that same thing about, that if they can use the city vehicle,
Yep.
they need to use the city vehicle. They need to come down, pick up the city vehicle and use it.
And then on the, I think it was the 13th, I just want to get clarification. We did talk about the mayor being a 4 to 6 year term. We never came to any closure.
No.
It wasn't 4 to 6, it was just a dialogue.
Right.
Okay. So I approve the minutes for the exception of that being corrected for the, what Mayor Lau, and then Vice Mayor Lindell said instead of travel time, get reimbursed for mileage outside the city. That's what he wrote in his letter.
Okay, so that would be a motion to approve as amended.
Everyone's doing one.
Yes.
So we have a motion and who's the second?
Got a second?
Second.
Second. Minutes are approved, all in favor? None opposed. So, on to the 13th, are we go on the 13th also? Minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those as submitted.
Okay, got a second?
I'll second it.
All right, got a second, all in favor? None opposed? Okay, motion carried.
Sorry, who was the motion by?
Drew and
Carrie.
Carrie
I
second.
did.
Carrie second.
Tom Pence made the motion.
Tom made the motion, Carrie second for March 6th, or 13th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, next is presentation, brief announcements. I believe we have Jerome Adams, City Administrator. Districts.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commission, so I reached out to several people that I'm familiar with regarding that could possibly provide input on redistricting. And I was pointed to this person, Mr. Spitzer, who actually has a consulting firm that does work like this. And he's done this for a number of cities and counties in Florida. And he sent the email, which I forwarded to all of you, but I'd just like to read it into the record if you don't mind. It says, Mr. Adams, thanks for your inquiry and that of the Charter Review Committee. The largest cost in switching to single-member districts would be the cost of creating the district boundaries using census data and appropriate geographic information system software. This can be roughly divided into two parts: the cost of acquiring the data and loading it into the GIS software, and the cost of building consensus among the city's elected leadership and the community leadership as to what the initial boundaries should be. If the development of the districts is something that can be relatively easily accomplished, the cost of the project could be around $12,000. If it is more complex and time-consuming, the project's cost could be more like $20,000. This would need to be repeated every 10 years after the release of the decennial census data. But once adopted, the cost of updating the districts should be minimal unless there is significant growth within or annexations into the city. Having worked with numerous charter review committees and over 35 redistricting projects in Florida, my opinion is that the question of at-large versus single-member districts is far more important to the future of the city than the cost of switching districting systems. If there are sound reasons to go to a single-member system or some other system of electing members of the council, the city should do so. If there are not good reasons, the city should not consider the policy change. But whether to consider the change should not be based on the cost of creating districts. So, just taking his words here into mind, it is somewhat of a costly venture, but that shouldn't be the driving force to decide whether or not you want to do it. It should really be the reason behind doing it. So I would leave that deliberation to the commission to decide if that's something they would like to pursue or not.
Can I ask a question about it? Yes. Tom was the one that brought that up. I'd like to hear what your thoughts after.
My thoughts are, it really should, I don't feel strong about it, but I think it should be by districts in 4 quadrants for the city of Oak Hill. Primarily because if you get somebody at Indian Harbor Station, you get 3 people in there that vote, they can control the whole city, which is not really fair to the east, I guess the west side, the north side, south side, et cetera, et cetera. And that was my thing, because I hadn't gone through that when I did my fish camp. And it took a lot of time, a lot of cost on my part, just because 3 city commissioners that were in there at that point in time did not want the fish camp to grow. And I finally had to almost threaten lawsuits and a couple other things to make it happen. And you shouldn't have to go through that. And my salvation was, and I don't mean to belabor the point, was through Abraham Jackson was on the committee at that point in time. And he was pretty understanding and helped sell to the other 2 commissioners what needed to get done. Again, that was just my own personal experience, but when you deal with that, it's kind of difficult as a citizen. You go against 3 out of 5 and you just don't stand a chance.
Given that said, I've got a comment.
No.
Typically, when we have elections, we know where they're coming from, we know what part of town they're in, that kind of stuff. Even before we get to the deadline for that, I think it's incumbent on all of us, even you, to stand up to the plate and say, you know what, I want somebody else in there and back that person instead of spending $20,000 to do it that way, at least for now.
Yeah, well,
At least for now.
but mine was totally different.
I know.
Because I had 3 people and all of them had conflict of interest. They were,
That was then, we gotta deal
Yeah.
with it now.
that seems right, but again, it can happen, and again, that's my only concern. But again, I'm not gonna sit there and argue. I feel that we ought to at least consider doing that, because I think all quadrants should be represented in some way, shape, or form, just as opposed to having 3 or 4 people come from one area.
Well said, all that kind of stuff. Can we all agree at this point that there's not much we can do about it at this point in time? And just let that issue,
I personally like to see a recommendation going to the city commissioners to sit there and change the charter to go that route if they want to.
Correct.
when we're looking at the current growth that's about to happen within this city, which is the possibility of getting of our size within the next 5 years, wouldn't it be wrong? Doubling?
Exactly.
Doubling,
We have a
minimum.
projection of 28 plus or minus 100 new homes.
Right, within the next 5 years. So to even consider the districting at this point and put it before is, I think to me, it seems like almost insurmountable odds. Because when you look at where they're gonna grow down here at Billsville Road, we're gonna have 400 homes down there. Yeah, 800.
Yes.
You know,
And then you also
so
have
how, you know, if you
on the north
district it
side,
now, and those people aren't moved in yet, so then you still get that unequal, unbalanced thing. And the other problem we still have, no matter how many ways you put it this Sunday, is getting people up to the plate to run.
The other part, there is another subdivision that's on the north side of town. That was,
Look at that, if
Right.
nobody, if I'm the only one that feels strong about it, then there's no sense in debating it.
No, I agree with you. I think it ought to be a district. And, you know, the reason I see it as districting is similar to the same thing you, I see any area can dominate this council, period. They could come in and dominate this council, no matter what else happens. Okay? They can come in and we could do, like Ron said, well, we could get behind somebody else. Well, if they've already got the people in their area backing them, I can tell you right now, if it's Lighthouse Cove in Indian Harbor and they got the people on the north side backing them, they got it. I don't care what you got in the rest of the city right now. They've got it.
I don't believe that.
Well, they got the most electoral.
I understand that, but if you, I cannot believe that Lighthouse Cove and Indian Harbor State have more population than the rest of the city. I can't believe that.
Well,
I've been here all my life, you've been here all your life. That is not the case.
Don't even vote.
Yeah,
They're part-timers.
right, so,
Well,
I think we put the,
Well, then who else feels strong about it other than just
I
the two
feel-
of us?
yeah,
I feel okay about the districting, okay? I feel good about it. I think it should be divided up. So you can have representation for the whole city, okay? But the point is right now is, and this is coming from me and I may be wrong. First thing we gotta say is, where we gonna get the money from? Okay? I know the gentleman said in his letter, if you feel strongly about it, then you shouldn't worry about the money. But we being a small city, we have to worry about the money. But once we start building and we see where we can pull the money from, because of course these houses gonna have to pay taxes. It's gonna give income to the city. Now we can present it to the city commission that we want to do this districting, and the $20,000 will be really nothing with all these people coming here. And then the consensus would be, you know, this gentleman can divide it up by this study, and it won't be as hard, because if you, what I'm trying to say is, you don't want to have one person with a whole bunch of houses. You don't want to have one person with, you know, you want to split it up. And the only way to split it up, you got to get the population at least heading in the direction that you think it's going to go.
Well, there's three issues you gotta consider. One, we're only making a recommendation to the city council or the commissioners that they wanna do it.
correct.
And let's say they wanna do it, then the money will be budgeted in the 2024, 2025 budget. It's not gonna be done today or tomorrow.
No, I understand that.
Thirdly,
I'm
is that
saying-
the citizens have to vote whether they want to change that in the charter. And so it's really, all I'm saying is saying, let's at least stick it out there. If the commissioners don't wanna do it, great, then we're done. If they wanna do it, then it goes to the voters to sit down and approve, and if the voters wanna do it, then you're done.
and the money that you're talking about, it's not coming out of this budget. this is something that we're proposing, and this, the only time that's gonna take effect will be in 2026, at the next election. That's when it would take effect, not until then, because once that's, the next election is when that would take effect. It would not be this election. You know, so,
There's several years to get it all together and ironed out.
oh yeah,
Go ahead.
Jerome, the amount seems low to me. Does the supervisor elections cost, does he have that included in there?
No,
The numbers I've seen just to add a few things to vote on is $20,000, you know.
the cost for
And then
supervisor of elections was not included. This was just his cost to do his.
They have to-
Demographics, so the demographics.
They have to change all their computers and everything.
I did reach out to the supervisor of elections and ask, you know, for an estimate, if you will, but I hadn't heard back.
Richard, can I just ask like a point of order? Can we see a raise of hands? Yes? You like the idea?
Well, we're gonna let him.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'd just like to hear consensus.
Okay. Well, we need a consensus of who,
Somebody needs to make a motion.
yeah,
Do it your way.
that'd be the easiest way, the motion. I make a motion that we look at going to districts on the next, not the 2024 election, 2026 election.
I second that.
Would that,
second?
question Shirley, would that then be brought to the new commission now? The current commission or the new
It
commission?
would be brought to this commission with the purpose, because they're the ones that's sitting on this charter
We
report.
need a second before discussion.
Yes, we have, well, we
Well,
have a
she
second.
already
Have
has
a
a
second.
second. We have a second.
Yeah,
What's
they
the
have,
second on?
Mr. Finney, yeah. But this has to go in front of this commission. Okay?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that's sitting on the charter review. But, you know, it wouldn't be a new commissioners, if there's some coming in, or we have the same one, it wouldn't matter.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I have a question about, I know we're listening to you and hearing you saying this is how it's gonna work, this is how it's gonna work. Here's my question, can we have clarification on how this would work, Jerome? So say we go through and we go to the city commission and they go, yes, we'd like districting. Do they come back to us and they go, well, make it so? And then how does that work? Because we're on a limited time frame here to make things happen, correct?
Well, you remember what
No.
we would be doing the districting now. You'd be going to the commission to see if they want to go ahead with doing districting. If they say yes, you're amending your charter to say we're going to be looking at districts.
Okay,
Then you'd have to form a committee to actually do the
okay,
work
so then it would be a
for each
secondary
district.
committee.
Yes, it would
Separate,
be this.
that's the explanation I wanted.
Charter committee.
Yes, it would be this group. It would be a separate group to do just this.
Just the districting. Okay, that clarifies that, thank you.
through election.
And it has to go through the November election.
Okay,
That's the reason I'm saying it can't happen
Can't be
now.
ready for this
I
election.
just.
Looks
I
like
didn't-
yours.
Yeah. And it could be 2028,
Right.
whatever happens. It's just something that we need to start working towards, I think, because Oak Hill is growing, whether we like it or we don't like it, you know? And, you know, we need to, plan on, the worst thing in the world is sit back on our butts and not do anything, okay? And the next thing we know, it's around us, and you don't have any say. That's what I see happening.
Call the motion.
We
We've already had one.
Then we got a second, we just had discussion, but,
All the questions.
I'm sorry,
Call the vote.
call the vote. All right, we got a vote on the motion.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Four.
I didn't see who was in favor.
All in favor, raise your hands. and
Just so I
vote.
can get 1, 2, 3, 4. It's split.
There was three of us.
Yeah, we lost
I like the,
Reagan. So we lost Reagan, she was
Yeah.
our,
So if it's a tied vote, then it fails.
Okay. Remember, even if we don't put it in the charter, we can go to the commission at any time and ask them to start redistricting. They can do it without charter.
And they can also budget for it,
Yeah.
for the extended cost that it's going to be, and being that we've got the financial problems we have, it would need to definitely be something budgeted out.
Do we have financial problems in Oakville?
Have you looked at the profit and loss?
But do we have financial problems?
It would appear so.
Well, I can say that, because I need to see a budget. Once I see a budget, then I'll say we got problems.
Okay.
But it don't look, I mean,
We don't have problems, but if real estate values go down again like they
then
did,
we'll have problems.
we will have.
But right now, real estate is going up.
But it don't always go up.
No, it don't always go up, but it don't always go down.
No, it'll go up and down.
So
Here, I
what's the
think that's
status?
your question. I don't think anybody.
So basically that
really
fails
knows what
because
we're
it's a
doing.
tie.
It's an assumption that we're spending
All
more
right.
than what we're taking in.
Yes.
That's just an assumption. I don't think we, as the city commissioner seen a budget and actual? We know that?
Excuse me?
Has the city commissioner seen a budget with compared to actual expenditures?
Budget to actual, no, I'm getting ready to do my first one at the end of this month when I can get my actual figures from our accounting firm.
Yeah, so right now, we don't know if we're in the red or we're in the black.
Oh, we're in the black on today's budget. Yeah.
But
We're
Yes.
on the budget, we'll let Charlie.
So where we were looking at some of the things we did last week, or the last meeting, again, my apologies for not being able to be here. After the March 6th meeting, I sent an email to Jerome, and I asked him about section 4.06, the forfeiture of office, section B, where they were talking about the absences. And I asked this question because there have been questions about that section of the charter referring to more than just the city commission. And I've heard it referred to as, well, this is a commission that we're on, and this is a commission. So my question to him was, does that, where it refers to commission, does that refer only to city commissioners? And Mr. Adams was kind enough to reach out to the attorney, and I quote, "I reached out to the attorney, he said, this section is only referring to the commission, meaning the city commission. But because other people have read the charter and said that it refers, that portion of the charter refers also to any commission, I'm wondering if we need to put the word city in just to define that, or if people need to stop reading words in, just a thought."
That was left that way intentionally, so the president of any commission can adopt that if they want to. The city commission can adopt that to anybody they want to.
Then shouldn't that be added into there as a clarification then?
Well, then
Because-
it's mandatory.
Then it's
and
mandatory.
everything, and then there's
But it
things
should
where
be
it's
in
not
writing.
necessary.
But if the attorney says that section refers specifically, that this section of the charter specifically refers to directly the city commission,
Yeah.
shouldn't we be
No,
making it clearer?
my answer is no,
No,
because
okay.
we left it up to the commissioners to do what they wanted to with each one of the committees.
what we don't need to do is read more into the charter than's in the charter.
Then it is.
Okay, when you start reading more into it, you get in trouble.
Hold on, can I say something? Okay. I understand that people wanna know what's going on, and people wanna get caught up and stuff like that. But aren't we supposed to be working on 6 today?
Yes.
Why are we going back?
Oh, we're going
We're
back.
supposed to be discussing charter
Because
section 4.01 and 4.02.
But
And then moving
isn't
on
it
to
section
6.
4 was about the districting? Districting?
No,
Yeah.
No,
Yes, it was.
Filling in the
Yes, it was.
vacancies.
He's got a point, because when we did the meeting last time, on the 4.06,
We took care of 4,
we took care of that by
and the only
saying,
thing we were supposed to start discussing today was 6.
And my apologies for going backwards.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, that's backwards.
All right, we're
That's
on
why they
six
want
now.
back. That's the word.
She's just asking for clarification.
Yeah, but
Let him run the meeting, Ron, please. Okay?
We're moving on to section 6.
He's the chair.
Before we speak, we get into a discussion of section 6, I would like to ask Mr. Adams to speak and explain his reasons he wanted to be city manager and change from city administrator, and how it would change and what our charter description and duties will be.
The main reason why I thought the title of city manager was more appropriate, it's mainly because of the experiences I've had when going to, other functions with other cities or other organizations, where when you're asked, what's your title here? What do? You say you're a city administrator, and the majority don't know what that means. They think you're like the office manager. You run the office. You're pushing papers, so to speak. They're not understanding that you actually have more involvement in running off the city. So it's pretty much just a clarification for when you're out there interacting with other cities, other organizations, being able to get to see people, because now they'll understand, okay, what this person is and the level that they're representing, and you're not like, the assistant of somebody else that works in the city. That's a majority.
It helps you externally to open more doors.
Yes.
Internally, it doesn't matter.
No.
Same job description.
No, but I understand what he's saying. They're saying it's like in my profession, we used to be called administrators. That charge of the hospital, now it changed to chief executive officers and chief nursing officers just because it opened more doors. So the title does have something externally, it doesn't matter internally what you call it. Is that?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that if the consensus is that we would like to change that title, that we defer till we can have the attorney here to discuss what the differences and all of the things that he can do and not to do, whether it's correct or whether there's a bunch more needs to be added or what. Because that's going to be the key to this whole thing, the number one thing. And he will know some stuff that we don't know right now.
Let's talk about change his job description, about change his title.
Huh?
Change the title doesn't change the job description.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, there is a little
Yeah, it
more.
does.
I read the paperwork that drew in the city manager and city administrator roles similarities. That was emailed to everyone.
Yeah.
And it goes through and it basically describes, or it has a bunch of people that they did a census of.
Well, what's the job description for the city manager now then? Is it under,
There's
That's section 6.
that's why I said, I don't understand what you're actually saying, I really don't, because changing the job description is a job description. I can sit there and call him a bozo, I can sit there and call him a chief executive officer, I can call whatever I want to. But A, B, C, D, and E doesn't change.
Throughout the whole industry, city administrator and the manager have different.
I understand that, but I'm just saying the job description can be, for chief executive officer could be, in one hospital could be this, another hospital could be this. There is no standard out there that says a CEO has all this. This right here is what portrays the job description for whether it's the city manager, the city administrator, or whatever it is. I don't know, we can have the attorney out there, but I don't know why you want to bring the attorney in.
No, because I wrote all of those descriptions.
So I understand that. All I'm sitting there saying,
But I couldn't put some
Couldn't just
things
get
in
the
there
attorney
because
because
I wasn't manager.
but I'm sitting there saying, this is the job description, right?
That's not the job description of a manager, no.
What's this job description for then?
City administrator.
So what is the description
What's the
for a
difference?
city man, what is the job description for a city manager?
It's much longer than the one we got, and he has much more authority than the administrator had.
So basically what you're saying
I
is
think-
really we shouldn't be able to discuss any of chapter 6 unless Scott Simpson is here to
No.
really
I'm saying if,
differentiate the differences.
but if you want to change him to manager, we need, the attorney needs to give you some descriptions and things before you make that decision.
Go ahead, Charlie.
And I'm sort of going along with what Tom. I was a manager at Space Center, okay? They came along, they made me a director, which opened more doors. I had exactly the same responsibilities as I did when I was a manager, okay? My job description was exactly the same. They changed the title. If the job description in our charter says this, and we put manager on, that's all we expect that manager to do. All the stuff that they're doing in this one and everything else means nothing to us if we don't put it in our charter. The job description in the charter is what they have to live by, no matter what they do anywhere else.
But the description of a city administrator is to work with the city commission, develop policies to operate the city. The description basically of a manager is to run the city, all the operations of the city, not working with the commission on developing policy. He's to take that policy and run with it and just make sure it's operated. There's two different jobs.
Okay, isn't that what our city administrator does now?
Our city administrator got fired because she wasn't doing the city manager's work.
But isn't that what our city administrator now does? Our city administrator is doing the manager's job now. Okay, is what I'm saying.
Second to your motion? Did you get a second to your motion?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You know,
Second it.
Ron, second.
What was the motion?
If we just want to go this route, to finish the discussion on the
So you want to spend more money to bring Scott in here and answer a question?
During that next time, at the end, yes.
Well, we're doing that anyway at the end.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing anyway.
Right. So we have one little more question in the other list we have, yes. That's the
And,
second.
okay,
We already,
let me ask a hypothetical. We get Scott to come in here. We come to a conclusion on what we want for the job description. Scott says, oh, city manager has this, and this. Everything we've just done is a waste. So,
Does it not have to be in the charter what his duties and responsibilities
That's-
are regardless of
exactly, and it's a
title?
job
Even
description.
though, I understand what you're saying too, because I have watched probably 100 videos, I've read numerous pages of the differences between the two, and it's conflicting as you read it, but as I did read it, it was telling me that there are different positions, and they do have more duties and responsibilities as a city manager versus a administrator. It's almost like the city manager is, I ain't gonna say equal, but he has just as much with him there. Yes.
I look at the duties of what's in the charter now. And for the size of our city, these duties are perfect. As the city gets bigger, then the duties will grow. They'll get more intense. And, you know, if you look at, his duties, that administrator is just a word.
Agreed.
It's just a word. So why not afford him the title of manager so he can get his just due?
I agree. I think it would be nice that the lawyer Simpson would read through this and tell us that, yes, these are his duties. No more above, no more.
Right. Because as the city grow,
Then,
his duties gonna increase.
of course. And I pulled up
And
the
they gonna
city,
be in depth.
I pulled up the city manager's description and duties, and it has an A, B, C, D, E all the way down the line. And as I read through it, it was very
It's
close
pretty close.
to where I was like, wow, we pretty much have the city manager's description and duties already in our charter.
Already in your
They might
charter.
have moved it around a little bit, or took just a little bit out here and there to take away just a little bit of power,
But he's pretty close.
but he's pretty close.
If you read in that, it says perform such duties as are specified in this charter, or may be required by the city commission, okay? If the duties increase, the city commission says this is now required.
So be it.
So, you know, to me, and I have no problem waiting to listen to what Scott's got to say, but I mean, a job description is a job description.
Scott has about 4 other cities, universities, and they all have managers. So it would be good to get.
Like I said, but I don't necessarily say I'm gonna agree with Scott, because a job description is a job description. I mean, if you go to a job to drive a semi up and down the road, and they put you and says, well, here's a tractor, well, that's not what I wanted to do. You know,
But you can't present a charter to the commissioners without the attorney.
and I know, I'm just
We're
saying,
not gonna be able to do that until the attorney reviews it with us, correct?
Correct.
and I have no problem with that, but I don't, like I said, I don't know that I would agree or disagree with Scott, because to me, if you have a job description, that's what that person is working off of.
I have.
Not what's out here in La La Land that you can go pull from New York and Pennsylvania and LA and throw it in the middle of it, but that's what your manager does. To me, that's hyperbole, you know?
All right, Terry, go ahead.
My question, perhaps Jerome, am I not correct? Didn't Scott say he wrote the Lake Helen?
And he's
Charter.
a city administrator.
Didn't he say that he wrote that?
I don't recall.
I
That's
don't
not.
remember him saying he wrote it. I don't know that he can.
No, but I believe he worked with Lake Helen when they.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he helped them form it and everything. Okay. That's what I thought.
What's that tell
The
us?
reason, I think the reason why,
That's the job description.
Mr. Smothers want Scott here is just to get some clarification.
I agree.
And that's fine.
I agree.
And there's nothing wrong with clarification.
I want some myself.
Yeah. And because, you know, we new to this. This is new, except for, you know,
And Ron,
and Ron, and this is new to us, so we just want some clarification that, you know, we're trying to do it right.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
You just nail it, call the vote. He made the motion, I seconded it, call the vote.
Read the motion again so we understand it.
Basically, it was just to have
cast
the
Ask
city
Mr. Smothers.
attorney, when we get to that point,
Yeah.
the city attorney gives the clarification to the manager and administrator. That's it.
I thought I understood it to be before we change this from administrator to manager, we
No, we
consult
just-
with the
we just
attorney.
added
What
to
did you
this.
mean exactly? If you could personally clarify it.
Well, if you recall, we've already voted that we're not gonna vote on anything permanent without the attorney here.
right,
So
exactly.
this is just one
Just
thing to
saying.
go to.
This is gonna be an all-day discussion when I've said the motion was to let's bring the attorney in and get this, well, it's gonna be a longer, it's not as simple as I think it's gonna be.
And you're talking about section 6? Because
That's
what
what
we're
it takes, be managers.
So
So
with
is
your
your
motion,
motion to not talk anymore about section 6 without the attorney present?
No, it was, if the consensus is that we're gonna go manager after we talk about it,
Okay.
that we bring the attorney in to finalize it.
I have an additional question before the
Well,
vote.
before the vote.
To you. Were we not told that if we had a question, we could send an email during the meeting possibly to Scott and ask for clarification? Or did I dream that? I mean, is it possible for us to send an email to the attorney?
Yeah, we can send an email.
And just-
It won't necessarily get
Yeah,
answered.
Our chairman can talk to the attorney anytime he wants.
Okay,
Can do anything he wants.
okay. Well, that was my question. Can we just email and ask a question?
Who's gonna pay for it?
This is not a
City has to
question,
pay.
this is an all
Exactly.
4-hour discussion.
Just wait.
Because you all had wanted to have a meeting with the attorney too, so this, at that point, you know, you get all the questions or all the issues that you want to discuss. When we have that meeting with the attorney, then we can address those things. If we have to have 2 meetings with the attorney, that's fine, we can do that too.
And I'm fine with, you know,
Well, I mean, the question is to have a separate meeting other than the end one, just on manager. If y'all don't want to do that, we just.
Okay, so
Is that all
that is.
part of your first motion now?
I'm saying it's gonna be a long discussion.
I understand.
Take up the
I
whole
understand.
meeting.
But that doesn't prevent us discussing 6 today though, does it?
No, I feel we can continue on with all the sections throughout 6. He just wants to table, or not table, but discuss with the city
The
lawyer on the title.
Tell them to do this.
Correct. Before we discuss.
Yeah.
First, the motion was to have a separate meeting with the attorney just on manager.
Just on the name.
That's basically what the motion is.
Okay, we have a second, we have a discussion, do we have a vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposes?
Court eyes, sorry, I didn't see that.
Everybody kind of weird on the eyes.
well, I think it's,
Yes, you
everybody's sort of confused.
Yeah, but we need clarification, y'all. And the only way to get that is to bring the man in.
And that's all this motion was for us to clarify through the lawyer the difference of the name between the two.
Right.
You want to do a roll call? We can vote, so.
Yes, I can see.
Let's do a roll
So we're
call.
gonna ask Scott to come in and make a presentation, is that what we're asking?
No, we're at, to discuss with Scott.
Well, I like what she said, just email him and ask him a question.
No, that's what I'm asking.
No, he wants to have a completely separate meeting to go over
All the
with
duties.
Scott
of the
strictly
manager.
Just for administration,
administrator,
purchase
manager.
manager.
So it's just, an added cost.
And he
I
said.
can't do anything, because we just voted on his motion, right?
We haven't voted yet, we haven't,
He wants to do
a roll call.
roll call.
Roll call vote.
Yeah,
So I wanna make sure I know what I'm voting for, I really
correct.
confused.
Same here, I'm lost.
That's sort of where I'm at. Ron, I'm sort of at with you, I'm lost now. I would, and I don't want, because we got a motion, I don't want to make another motion on top of a motion, because that ain't the way you do it. But think about, have the chairman get a hold of Scott.
No.
No,
It's,
our chairman,
Huh?
our chairman.
What's it
Jerome
cost
gets
to
to
talk
one
to
quicker.
the lawyer?
Our chairman, does Jerome can be sitting there with me, but our chairman needs to be the one that makes that contact.
either way, it's gonna come.
Our chairman needs to make that contact. That's the reason we put a chairman in place.
Charlie, just a quick question. My
It's
thought
not a
is
separate
we've
budget,
got
it's just
all
within the whole
these
operating.
issues. Here's one, the difference
I didn't
between
know we had
manager
something left for
And
lawyer.
administrator.
in all of the
We
rest
have
of the
separate for
conversation we have.
for the attorney.
It takes him
We have
2
a budget
minutes.
for him, so it
Answer
will
that
be
question.
in that budget.
If he answers, sends it to the attorney gonna give us a separate bill. Just lump it in with
He's
all
gonna-
the rest of the questions.
It's gonna charge.
He's
You don't
gonna
have
give
to make
us
a
a
decision
separate
today.
bill if we have him come in to give us a
I don't want
presentation.
that, I don't
But
want that.
that's what the motion is. The motion
I'll
is
just
to
send
have a
it second.
separate meeting with Scott
Yeah.
to discuss
I'll
whether
send
or
my
not
second.
it's a manager or what the manager.
Ron, you withdraw your second?
Yeah, that's not what I want.
And I don't think he needs to be here either.
I want it just with all the rest of it, that's it. Simple, keep it simple.
So at this time, we will just keep our notes that when he arrives for all the questions, we can
Do the roll
That's
call.
But you withdraw.
He
So he
withdrew
would-
his second.
So with the withdrawal of the second, that motion is dead.
Yeah.
I got confused.
I believe having the attorney here one time, paying him for one time, ask him all the questions, he can tell us what the differences are between administrator and manager. And then on top of that, we can still go through section 6 and make our changes or whatever questions we can come up with through section 6. And then after we get done section 6, we're pretty much right at the point of having the attorney come out. So we're there anyway, so it's going to be pretty current with our conversation, yes.
So we're gonna continue on, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can I, we're gonna forget, wait, I like, we asked, okay.
What do you want to be called?
I'd like to, on section 6.01,
Okay.
where it says, 4/5 votes, I think that needs to be majority.
That is.
That is important.
It says,
The majority is three-fifths.
Three. The majority is three.
yeah, but I'm saying the 4/5 vote.
That means 4 out of the 5.
Listen to me. Don't you think that should be majority
Yes.
instead of 4/5?
No,
I don't,
No,
I do.
in
a
everything,
majority vote?
it's a majority.
No.
it only takes one commissioner.
You're talking about supermajority.
It's too easy to get rid of a manager. I mean,
Well, this is.
everybody's not on board when they hire.
So that's why you put 4/5.
To try to get everybody on board when they hire.
Okay.
And so it's all this bickering all through
Yeah,
there.
but I don't, this is not firing, this
This
is
is
city commission, about 4/5 of the total members shall appoint a city manager for a definite period of time.
Not to fire. And
Not
I
to fire,
agree.
that's just appointed.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. When you appoint one, you need everybody on board with it. If you don't, you got chaos ready to start.
Now, if you get the majority, 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
As long
You
as.
Yeah,
put it on-
the majority
you
of
put it
the
on
people
hard.
make a decision.
Sometimes,
I see what he's saying, because if you say 4/5, that means that the mayor can't vote, and the other 4 gotta be on board.
Well, the mayor votes.
Mayor
The mayor votes.
4 out of 5's got to be on board.
This is
Yeah,
pretty
four.
simple.
And this comes from the attorney and it's
Yeah,
on
right.
every
I see where you're coming from.
charter there is, just about.
Excuse me
Just my
for
experience
thinking,
It's not something I made up.
in my experience with, seeing other cities and how they go about appointing their city manager, and speaking with people like Ken Parker from ICCMA, it's good to have that 4/5, to have the backing of those people with the city manager, so he or she has, some sort of built-in confidence that these people support you while you're doing your job. If it's
Right.
3/5,
I know
there's still that
4/5
chance.
Obviously, when you hire somebody, you want everybody all on board,
Yes.
100%.
Right.
But sometimes it's hard to get 4 people out of 5 to sit there and agree when you've got a bunch of candidates in place. All of a sudden, you may miss a couple of candidates because you can't get the 40%, the 80%. In our particular, I'm saying 80%, that's 4 out of 5.
Right.
So I say, I actually prefer, I think, the majority.
Well, that's when they do their round 1 interview, and you whittle it down, and you round 2,
Yeah,
whittle it down
I
again.
understand that, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to get 100% people to agree on something like that. What happens if you can't get 4/5?
Move on,
You can't.
Yeah, point.
move on.
Every city has the last 100
This is
years.
because every city has, you continue to bring up stuff that happened 10 years ago. I'm looking at what's happened today and what's going to happen in the next 10 years, because everybody knows Oak Hill is going to grow. And this is what this charter is, to sit there and predict what's going to happen in the future. I'm sitting there saying, look, what happens if you can't get 4/5 out there? City of Oak Hill can't sit there and go back and
Start the interview
start
process.
over again.
No,
We don't have enough
Port Orange,
we don't have enough
Port
people
Orange is
applying
a
for
good
the
example.
position.
They're growing like crazy, Port
Who?
Orange. Port Orange.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
They
they're
got
growing
four
too.
fifths. They require 4/5 to get a manager.
I know
I-
Ken's always said he'd like to see a full, everybody agree to give confidence to the city manager, administrator, whatever you want to call them. But I agree with Tom and I agree with Derry, the majority vote It's a majority of the commission, and you're not always gonna get everybody.
Just one vote changes and you get a new manager. You can have
This is
manager.
not-
and-
This isn't firing somebody.
This is actually,
This is to appoint the
Appoint
city
somebody.
administrator.
we're not firing anybody, because actually, three people can fire the city manager.
That's right.
And we did,
But hopefully.
When?
Well, there's been sitting there.
before his predecessor took place.
She quit.
She quit.
His predecessor.
Oh,
y'all-
Con?
Before her.
Before Khan.
Oh, that was
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Kim,
Kim.
Kim.
But this is to appoint, this is not to fire, this is actually appoint somebody.
The next page deals with fire.
Pardon?
The next page deals with fire.
Let's try to give the manager some better support when he comes on board when it's fulfilled.
And I agree, that's why I said earlier, you almost want to have all five managers agree. I'm just sitting there saying, what happens if you don't get four managers, four commissioners to agree? Then you gotta start all over again?
Yeah,
And
the way they do it.
that's,
I mean, by that point in time, by the time you're to the place where you're having a forfeit vote to appoint the city administrator, you would assume that they had gone through the majority of the vetting process to get him in. You would assume that that vetting process has occurred to the point where, as he said, that 4/5 is there, and then you vetted 6 people, you've got 2 people, and you're down to those 2 people. That's the way I read it, is you're at that point where you're ready to push the button and let them go.
and at that point, majority
Majority would be the
would
same,
be
yeah.
the same. If you've got it narrowed down to 2 people, then the majority would go for, I want Drew, I want Tom, and you make your choice, you know, and the majority votes. Should we?
That will be brought up again when the attorney's here.
Well, that's fine.
It has nothing to do with the attorney. It's up to us to sit there and whether we want for this or we want majority. That's the question.
He can tell you why, a lot more reasons why
Okay,
it should be fulfilled than I can.
then, and exactly, and at that point, if he comes back and he says, no, that can't be majority because A, B, and C, then we could turn around and say, okay, that's why we can't do majority, A, B, and C. But our consensus is majority, or not majority, and that's really kind of where the option comes down.
Go ahead, Ron.
I think that I appreciate your point of view is, however, 4/5 sends a extremely clear message to that city council. When they're doing their job, if they have to come up with that level of consensus, I'd rather put that burden on them to make sure that they understand in their questioning, in their discovery, all that kind of stuff, that they step up to that level. I've been there. I'm telling you, sometimes it doesn't happen. And there's this kind of stuff that happens behind the back door. 4/5 sets a level. I don't understand that.
I agree 100%. I always said that. I prefer, if I'm running for the city manager, I want all 5 to vote me in. I want 4 to vote me in. All I'm sitting there saying, we're a small city, you can't sit down and hopefully get 4 to vote somebody in. If it doesn't happen, you go back to the gene pool, not people with the resumes. We didn't have a whole lot of resumes come in for this one, and we narrowed the scope down.
So does that mean the 3/5 is off the table then? We're still back and forth.
Well, now,
Yeah, because the question is whether it's 3/5 majority or 4/5.
Four
The way it's
fifths?
in now.
I like the word majority. I think that's what you
So
said, right?
majority stands for 3/5, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so if we were to change it to majority, it's going to take it down to 3/5. So
Yeah.
leave it to 4/5.
It's a consensus.
Yes, sir.
I just, when I read it, when I'm going for a job or voting for somebody to have a job, I would prefer the majority in my walk in life, majority rules. To me, maybe not you guys, but, you know, if the majority say yes, then that's what we gotta vote with. Because all the vetting should be done or trying to hire somebody. Just like we had 2 candidates with him. Believe me, they did their homework. And, you know, they pick who they wanted to pick. So I don't know if the majority ruled in this time because I wasn't here for the vote on Mr. Adams' job. But that's why I looked at it and said, I think majority needs to be in here. But if I'm wrong, or if I read it wrong, or looked at it, then I can say I'm wrong, you know, but I understand what Mr. Smuggers is saying, that you want 100%, you want at least 80%, you want full confidentiality when it comes to this job. So I can understand both sides, because I thought another side, and I'm looking at 4/5. So I'm looking at both sides, and I can deal with either way. I just want to put that out there, if that helps. Because I brought it up, so I'm just making it, trying to make it easier for.
Who's for 4/5? 1, 2, 3.
I can go for 4/5.
Okay.
I can go for 4/5 because.
I'm fine with 4/5 too.
Yeah,
That's fine.
because I,
Vote forfeit?
yeah, just take 4/5. You know,
That's
because
what
I
it
just,
is.
you know, if 4/5 don't give 100%, give that person the confidence that the council or the commission is behind him, then 4/5 it is. You know, and 4/5 is the majority. 4 out of 5.
Clear message.
It sends a clear message, and I can understand, and I can live with that.
It also shows a clear message to our constituents, our city people that live here, that at least they're stepping up to that level of responsibility and make sure it's not just 4/5 just takes it to that level.
Well, yeah, it shows that your commission and your mayor are 4/5
Behind.
on behind.
Behind
each
it
other.
already.
Behind you.
And not 2 are not, but 3 are, and you're kind of like,
Matter of fact, I think you're only on 5. I think that's the way it was, it was 5. So, you know, and that's the way it's usually gonna be, because sitting in the
yes.
round table, hiring people,
Look at section 604, see if
That's
it's
all right.
okay with
try to
that.
get everybody.
Right. Well, we're trying to,
604.
we're trying to.
Okay.
What did you mean?
604, look at 604, see if everybody's okay with it.
The acting city administrator.
It could be if in future.
Well, are we gonna
the
go
manager
through 6:0?
Do we not want to look at the duties at all, just leave them as they are?
That's what we gonna table 6-2, and that's one of our questions for Scott.
6-2 duties,
Oh,
I
okay.
thought
so we're not gonna
we're still
go-
gonna go through it.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to go through it.
I thought so,
Yeah, I thought that
I
was the
didn't
whole
think we were
point.
tabling it.
Okay,
Maybe
I thought that
misunderstood.
was what we was gonna ask Scott.
I was under the impression, I think everyone here was too, that we were still going to review all of section 6. And because when Simpson comes here and tells us that these are the duties of whatever his name is, whatever
Then we have
position
to-
he's gonna be.
But I think we should review each section
And I don't want
No,
and not leave it.
I don't know if anybody's trying to get out of here earlier.
no, we knew today was gonna be a long.
Yeah,
This is gonna be more than one day's
of
discussion.
course it is.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to,
6.02, duties.
Yeah, we went from section 1, and did everybody go through section 601? I think the only person brought up something was Tom on the 4/5 vote. Was everybody else okay?
And that's
with
basically
section
right.
601?
Actually, I would say, I really like the way that Lake Helen wrote theirs. It's a lot shorter and simpler. It just says the city administrator shall be selected on the basis of education, experience, entrepreneur, management abilities as it pertains to the administrating of municipal government. And we could just add by a 4/5 vote of the commission.
Well, it would probably cost us more to change all of this wording than just leave it the way it is. Because right now, we
As
are
long as
So
agreeing
it's
not,
to not touch it.
as long as it's simple,
But if we come
correct?
in, well, even if we make it simpler, it's still going to be a change, correct?
Okay. I see what
And
you're
that would cost us to have it rewritten in our charter.
In other words, if it's not offensive, leave it, rather than
Yeah, I mean,
striking it.
the whole-
It's not a problem, what's
Bring it
in
down.
I mean, it's not a problem, I don't think.
It's nothing, because they would have to vote on the complete change, and then it would have to be a ballot. If we leave it alone, it won't even come up, right?
Right.
Anything else? On 601?
601.
That was your 4/5.
That was it. Yeah.
That was one.
Now we're good.
Yes, 4/5.
Let's say next.
Okay. Everybody's good with 601?
Yes.
All right, 602, duties. There we go.
I see one thing in this that, you know, if you look at the big paragraph where it says, it starts at, where is it? Okay, but you see right there where it said, take any action or condone?
That's a long sentence, so
Yeah.
where is it at?
Yeah.
Behind, which column?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth line. I think we should take out to be done anything. It should be or condone anything that will interfere.
Yeah, that's just
That's a typo.
a grammatical.
Yeah, but it don't, you know, I read that 3-4 times, I said,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm just saying, maybe we could take that out and that'll make things. Because when people read stuff,
What are you taking out? Sorry?
take out,
Sorry?
are you at the sixth line on,
Yeah.
you read after the word condone,
Yeah.
to be done.
Okay.
So it should say condone anything that would interfere with or impair the authority of the city manager with respect.
So we're saying take out the words to be done.
Yes, ma'am.
Those
If
three
you read
words.
it, you
Yeah.
see what I'm talking about.
I just wanted to make sure I was at the same.
Because when somebody go on our website and they look at our charter, I don't want them to look at the charter and say, that little old city don't have good grammar. You know what I mean? So when I read stuff, I try to put it in context where it be good grammar in case somebody on the outside want to look at it.
Okay, is there any action we can take to have that considered to be taken off? Do we need to make a motion to remove those words in this, or do we just bring it forward to something?
I think we
I
would
think
do
by
that.
consensus, right?
I would say everybody's okay with it, to
Do I need to
remove
make-
to be done.
Yeah, do I need to
Just
make a
take
motion?
that.
Do we need to push our consensus to
You just make a
remove?
motion and then go by consensus.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion that in
In
section.
the end, it still has to be a.
It still has to be official proof, right?
Oh,
But right now,
Okay.
we all agree. Okay. Right now, with consensus, we want to do that.
So
Okay.
he's making the motion, I'll second his motion.
Who made it?
I did make a motion, section 6.02 duties. Take out the words to be done in that section.
I second.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed?
I have a question. Above that, it says, in order to maintain the concept of such accountability, preserve the integrity of the office of the city administrator, neither the city commissioner or any commissioner shall attempt to direct any employee under the supervision or control of the city administrator to take any action. I understand what that said, but I just want a clarification. At the last meeting, what's the guys in charge of engineering?
Public Works?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mark
Public
Bell.
Works.
That's
Mark
my
Bell.
bad.
Yeah, Mark, he got asked the commissioner directly, what do you want me to do about the drainage, about property? I'm sitting there thinking, after reading that, Mark should have went up there and asked that question, because all of a sudden now, that when you read it, the commissioners are coming back and giving him direction.
And it should.
It should have come through him. I'm asking the question because if you read it as it states, that was totally incorrect of Mark to get up there and ask the question.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
But isn't this reference?
Yeah, but I think the reason that Mark did that was because, they were saying something about the drainage and the pipe.
I understand that, I got it, but I'm just sitting there saying, if you read that, if I'm a city commissioner, I can't come in and say, Mark, I want you to do this, this, or this. I'm gonna go through Jerome, and Jerome, you tell Mark to do A, B, or C. I'm sitting there saying, thing, he was asking for direction from the commissioner. He should have been asking direction from Jerome, and Jerome should have asked direction from the commissioner. Well, that's, I'm sitting there saying, is that, am I?
You're right, you're right on mark.
He should.
Jerome should give him the answer. He said they didn't have to go to the commission.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's not a commission thing.
So what is the purpose to have Public Works on the agenda?
Usually just to give updates on any issues that they may have run into, just to keep the commission abreast of what's happening.
Okay.
I usually give them a report, but it's, it seems like it's been commonplace for them to be here at the meetings and to update the
You
commission.
should probably
So,
answer questions that they might have on
Yeah.
the Public Works
yeah,
side.
that they may have better answers or more answers than what
But
I have.
basically what this is saying is the commission doesn't have the right to ask Mark that question.
Yeah, the commission can't go and tell Mark, go
The
do
commission can't go and instruct Mark to do a specific job. That has to be directed from you.
Yes.
They can just get clarification of what he's experienced,
Exactly.
not give him direction of what they want seen done.
Yeah, they can.
So,
ask him,
Basically, what you're saying is Monday night at the meeting, the commission was 100% wrong in telling Mark to turn around and proceed with turning around and fixing, or researching and fixing the issues
Correct.
on.
The mayor ought to have said, Mark, Jerome will have your directions just as soon as we get it. Boom, and it's over with. It's done. That's what should have been done.
Have the commission. have-
But it's hard to do that. Whenever you're after a direct question, you say. But that's what should have been done.
Especially in real time,
Yeah,
you're trying to please
Of course.
the commissioners.
that's what I'm saying, it's hard to do.
In real time, it's, but as long as you don't break the law.
Well, you're not breaking the law.
No, I'm just saying, as long as you don't break the law, you don't step
You
overboard.
don't do what the commission, the charter says you are breaking.
Breaking the law.
That's right.
And it was done within all 5 of the members, not one or separate
It was-
or
it was
2.
done with the
but
full
they were
commission.
all-
Right.
That they can direct Jerome on anything, but they're not supposed to direct the employees.
No, but Mark should have never asked a question to them to begin with. That was
the
where
mayor.
that, the whole point.
The mayor should spoke up.
That's,
Yeah.
and that's the mayor's.
Responsibility. to
They're
sit
not
there
in
and
control
That was
of that.
a spur of the
Just
moment
make a
thing.
suggestion
Yes.
for future reference. You have, pretty much a gavel on your side of the table. You'd be able to correct any future things like that pretty quickly now that you have some additional information, correct? Thank you.
So you need to speak up at the meeting and say, no, you can't do that.
We're gonna have to discuss it another
That
time
meeting
anyway.
Mark behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight out.
I got the answers waiting.
I got confidence that
Okay,
Jerome
we're
will
good.
take care of it.
All right, so are you good, Tom, with, what we-
I just wanted clarification, make sure I understood what I'm reading. Because it asked you to
Yeah.
tell me.
I think the message got sent.
That's fine.
anything else, in that paragraph?
No, everything is pretty cut and dry.
I just had another question here. It says, maybe I've read it somewhere, or I didn't read it. Does the commissioners should sit down and set goals and performance measures for the city manager, but I don't read that anywhere. Is it,
I didn't either.
I don't know that has to be in there, but you don't want to put it in. I was told it didn't need to be in there.
Well, it says-
Well, it
That's
says,
their job.
it says the city administrator shall be the chief executive officer of the city, responsible to the commission for the management of all city affairs placed in the administrator's charge or under this charter. That would indicate to me that the city commission has given him what kind of management duties he,
Yeah, but
Yeah, but here's the deal. Mr. Pence asked about the budget. Look, read E. We jumping down now, read E. See what E says?
And prepare and submit an annual budget and capital program to the city commission
And implement.
and implement a final budget approved by the commission.
And achieve the goals of the city.
Okay, and your point is,
No, Mr. Pence asked about
Setting goals.
the goals, setting goals for the city.
But
But I think it
but
should
that's
be,
referencing the budget and
Yes.
and
Yeah, but
apples
that's-
to apples.
Yeah, but still, it's,
I think I'm asking.
It's
I'm
okay.
asking one different
It's
thing.
okay, what Mr. Pence is asking, is okay.
yeah.
I think it should be in there that the city commissioners
Commission to develop
shall
long-term goals for the
set
city.
goals on an annual basis with measurements.
in there.
Yes.
it should be
Madam-
very similar.
If you read K, that's everything you want.
Letter
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
just.
okay, yes. And then
And then
F,
fill
F
out
backs
the
up
goal
E.
for the city.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Smuggers, F backs up E, correct? F backs up E, right? Because if you read
Yes.
E and then you read F,
Right.
but
As I was reading through this, along with reading other duties of city managers, that there was places where I was saying the same things. Tom, I had questions like, should they do this, should they do that? Because it kind of seems like it would go along with the beginning of A, B, and C.
Right.
And it didn't say what I wanted to see, but as I continued reading all throughout, as I got down to K, L, M, then they popped up in there. I was like, all right, cross that out, because I was writing in what I think it should say. But really, it popped back up. So yeah, as you read on more, it's,
Is it call for next?
How
are
about,
we
Start at
clear?
A.
Where are we at?
that clarifies it, thank you.
All right, let's start on K.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
K it is.
I had something that I would like to see added to A, because it says the city administrator or manager, whichever one we end up calling, appoint and suspend or remove all city employees and appoint department administrative offices provided for and by them under this contract, except as otherwise by the law. I think that along with that they should be able to do that, but it should be approved by the city commission prior to them making them appointments. The city commission needs to ask questions. Is it gonna be cost, what's it gonna cost the city more? Okay, what made you go into this determination? If you're hiring somebody, why did you hire this person? What's their background? So forth and so on. Because you're leaving yourself, one person going into a hiring process, I can tell you from experience, you're leaving yourself open to a lawsuit. Oh, yes, you are.
I've hired over 5,000 people in my lifetime.
I'm just saying,
You
but
don't get, you don't get 2 or 3 people trying to hire somebody.
It should be brought to the commission.
I've hired a bunch of people in my lifetime, okay, and there was always a board sitting for the hiring, am I not right in stating that?
Yes, sir.
There was a board sitting on that.
Here's what's supposed to happen in the city. When they make the budget, the commission is supposed to decide if there's gonna be a more person. They set the boundaries, they set the salary, they do everything about it. And then Jerome takes over and hires the person. When they're doing their budget is when they set up for every employee that's gonna be.
But what if it happens in the middle of the year?
He can't hire one that's not in the budget.
But what if it happens in the middle of the year?
You just said it.
You go to the commission and get it put in the budget. It's gotta be in the budget before you can hire someone.
Because I still think it needs to go prior to,
I agree with Joe.
and it needs to have the approval of the commission. That's my opinion.
That's where the lawsuits have come in.
And that would be good,
Because when you get a new commissioner, he wants to get rid of this person and hire his person.
Now, the commissioners don't have anything to do with the hiring or the firing.
No.
It is,
The description of the person they have a lot to do with.
it has to do with the administrator, the manager says, this is the person I want to hire. Same thing, you can have a majority vote, yep, that's the one we're gonna hire. I don't care what the other two have to say.
So you're saying the manager can't hire anybody on his
That takes
own?
away the duties
So
from the
when they
city
can-
manager.
Well,
And there's
I-
discretion.
Jerome has his hand up.
You wanna go first?
Okay,
Go ahead.
so it's sort of like what Mr. Smothers was saying, that's taking one of the duties away from the administrator or manager, whatever you call it. That's one of the duties that they're supposed to do. And then you have the conflict, again, with your commissioners. They're not supposed to be involved in hiring or firing a staff. That's no, they're getting into the administrative operations of the city. And just as an example, when we were looking for the office assistant here, it wasn't just me that interviewed people. I had myself and Erin. So it's always going to be, at least for me, at least two people going to be doing that interview. So that is not just one person. So I'm not going to be hiring, a friend there or a family or.
Can I put a nail in that coffin? I've worked for and against city and county governments all across the state of Florida. And I've sat in county, city commission meetings many, more times than any of you probably put together. I can't recall one city where I've sat in a meeting and they wasted their time, took their time, whatever you want to call it, to approve any subsequent employees being involved in city government. It doesn't happen. Volusia County, it'll never happen. Seminole County, doesn't happen. Orange County, it'll never happen. At that level, why would we want our city commissioners to sit down and look at
Application.
applications? Because that's basically what you're saying. That's basically what you're
that is
saying.
not what I said at all.
That's what it comes down to.
No, I did not say that at all, Ron. Again, you're reading stuff into stuff that shouldn't be read into it. I said, prior to him making that appointment, he tells the city commission. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the commissioner says, I want to see the application.
No,
I ain't,
That's
the
the
commissioner.
he
But
said,
that's,
said,
isn't that giving them administrative duties for them to come back and make, and the charter specifically says in the beginning that they don't have administrative duties, right?
I think,
Okay, here we go. If I go to work and I put in an application for the sheriff's department in any county, they're not gonna take my application. They didn't wanna hire me, they're not gonna take my application to the Brevard County Commissioners and say, can we hire Derek Cummings? No, that's not gonna happen. So if we, and I'm just trying to understand what Mr. Charlie is saying, because we don't wanna take away, we don't wanna take away Jerome's duties. And by him being city administrator or manager, he should be able to hire who he needs to hire to run the city. If it's administrative, you know what I mean? If it's administrative, like on his level, then you come to the commission. But anything under him, he should be able to. Now, when you gonna let somebody
I
go?
took Charlie's comment like this, and I understand what you're saying. If you've got 10 people budgeted this year, Jerome's got every ability to hire all those 10 people and hire them where he wants to do. But Charlie basically said, that if he decides in the middle of the year, I want to add an 11th employee, and that employee needs to go to the city commissioner.
It's got to be put in the budget before you get hired. It's on the commission.
Listen, I understand what you're saying. But I'm saying with Charlie's basically saying, look, we budgeted 10 people. I think if we wants to hire an 11th person in the middle of the year and it's not budgeted, I don't want Jerome to go out there and just hire that person it needs to go in front of the city commissioners to make sure it can be hired.
That's basically creating a new position.
Yeah, that's all, that's what
Or
I'm
additional
saying.
budget money.
All the
Exactly.
positions need to go in front of the city
That's
commissioners.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't catch it as that when you first explained it either. Thank you, Tom. I understand now. Always.
It's just a budget issue now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it
It's
is.
a budget issue, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but but all of a sudden, if he decides because the city's grown so much in 5 days,
He
We all-
doesn't have that authority.
No.
well, that's what Charlie said they're saying. He wants to make sure that he should be possibly in there to eliminate him going out there and hiring 11 person without going in front of the city commissioner. That's all he
Because
said.
there's nowhere in here it says that he has to look at the budget before he goes hired.
That's,
You can't put the whole operations of the city in the charter. Like, just simple things like that, you don't work at.
And I would
There's some
need,
verbiage in there
oh, wait a
somewhere.
minute, she first.
So if we're saying that this is a budget issue and a budget type item, would it be more correct to go under E where it says remittance, prepare and submit the annual budget and capital program to the city commission, implement the final budget approved by the commission to achieve the goals of the city? Couldn't you put, and if necessary, provide an interim or, whatever the word is?
additional budget request.
That'll work. But, I mean, wouldn't it be appropriate to put it there so that you'd allow for that? So that there would be an interim budget?
If it's necessary, that's just, the attorney said that's just implied. That you can adjust your budget every day of the year if you want to.
Okay, well, I was just saying if that's the
But
semantics. you're working on.
implied, everything gets implied. I think it means, I kind of agree with Drew. It needs to be put in black and white. Because you can sit there and say, oh, it says this, but your idea of what is implied. And, but what I'm saying is, no, but your idea of implying against his idea could be different.
Okay, here we go.
Mr. Combs?
If we put our confidence in our city administrator, city manager, he gets a budget. Common sense and his experience, he's not gonna hire more than that budget say. Because if he do, then he's overstepping his bounds, and that's grounds for termination. If they say hire 10 people, that's all you hire. And I'm willing to bet you, he's not gonna hire more than the budget says.
It also says on page, keep the city commission fully advised as to the financial conditions and future needs of the city.
That pretty much makes it a done deal.
Yeah.
And like end of that discussion, I'd say,
Just out of curiosity, when's the last time we actually had a, presentation other than last week? Budget compared to actual expenses?
We have,
We have,
We have, he's
We have not had
preparing, he's preparing.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think,
Well, it wasn't a problem, but hopefully.
well, but I'd like to sit there and see it be part of the thing, so actually as a citizen, I know what's gonna happen.
Make it a mandatory.
Right now, I don't know if it happens or not.
Budget.
And right now, I'm under the assumption we're, have problems financially, but I don't know for sure because I've not seen anything. I think what Charlie's sitting there saying, look, I'd like to sit there and see the budget, I understand, I've got 10 people in there, he shouldn't be able to hire any more than 10. If he wants to hire the 11th person in there, he needs to go in front of the city commissioner and sit there, I want to adjust the budget to hire the 11th person. That's what you're basically saying.
it's in there.
and specifically for the,
And the commission can ask Jerome to write a job description for every employee has, so that they have.
Well, we should.
Doesn't-
Can we not have job descriptions for our employees?
you have a
Yes, we do.
personnel manual.
Okay,
Yeah, we do.
I was gonna say, we're both certain.
So to kind of what Tom is saying, if you look at F, where it says that,
Yep.
where it says that they do that at the end of the year, I think that if we wanted clarification more that at the end of the year, for me, I would rather see something like that done quarterly. Because then the commission would have that quarterly report and you could have the confidence that you're looking quarterly, not only at your financial position, but also at your budget position, and that would allow you quarterly, as a commission, to make changes. At the end of the year, you're screwed.
Well, you'd also have a public meeting.
Right. But if you did it quarterly.
Remember, that state law requires an audit ever so often.
Once a year.
There's a reason we don't try to put that.
But this isn't an audit.
The city operates on a state charter too, that you have to remember.
Right.
That there's.
Right, but this is saying reports on the finances and activities. I mean, as a commissioner, wouldn't you want to know more than just at the end of the year how things have gone?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want those financial reports?
As a citizen, I want to
I
know.
think
I do too.
it
I got it right here.
I think it says in other places that Jerome shall keep them informed of all the.
Of the financials, but Jerome just said he's just preparing his first actual.
That just says that it should be public once a year.
I got a question for Jerome. I sat there for 4 years, Charlie, you sat there for 4 years. And all I can remember is that every year it came up where we basically agreed to spend this limited or whatever amount of money, with no money beyond that. Is that the way it is today? You look
Well,
like-
yeah, your budget, this is what you budget saying this is what you're expecting to be your expenditures and your revenues for the year. So you work within those parameters. That's what it still is.
Yes.
If there's, money left over because you didn't spend as much as you thought, then hey, good for you, you have a budget surplus.
If we change this to, from what we've done for 30, 40 years, whatever it is, we change this to, say, a financial, instead of end of the year, every quarter, what does that do to your responsibility? Obviously to the commission, I can see that, but what does that do to your responsibility? You just have to do it 4 times a year instead of once a year.
The end of the year is usually prepared by now that we have that accounting firm, they go
We
through
hired, yes,
and
we hired.
they prepare that
I
end of the
remember 4
year.
years, yes, we had an
Yeah.
accountant come in and they had to certify our books every year.
That's our audit.
This adds more to my plate to do, which I'm getting ready to add to my plate to do anyway.
How
City
often
manager.
is the independent audit?
Excuse me?
Once a
The
year.
independent audit the
Yeah.
state requires, how often is that?
Once a year.
That's
Once a year?
Once a year.
It's not once a year, it's not required once a year, but I think we do it yearly. I think it's every 2 or 3 years that it's required.
I just remember doing it every year, that's all I can
And
That's
you're talking about building the budget, right?
No, this is.
No, we're talking on asked a while ago.
remember. Sorry,
I said, you're talking about setting and building the budget with the expenditures that's going out.
yes.
And we did the same thing, but ours was built per line,
We did
Okay.
the same thing.
okay? But now I hear all the time, well, we'll take it out of general fund. Even though we had $60,000 budgeted for that, okay? Now we've done spent that 60,000, so we're gonna spend more, so we're just gonna take it out of general fund. What we did before is we said, okay, where else in our budget that we got set up? Not the general fund and not the emergency fund. Where else can we go get the money and put in there that we're not gonna spend this year? And we spent $1 million a night in here figuring that stuff out, okay? And we go back through the budget and we say, okay, line item X, Y, Z, we budgeted 20,000. All we're gonna spend is 10. We see that right now. Let's take 10 from there and move it over here. We didn't go to the general fund. We didn't go over to the other and pull more money out that we hadn't approved yet on the major budget.
Yeah, that's all commission
But
stuff.
but that's what I was telling.
What does that have to
Right,
do
but
this
with
is
an
what we-
audit
But this is
every
what we're saying.
quarter?
That it doesn't. I just was trying to answer what I thought you were saying. That's all.
I have a question, Mr. Adams, what would it take to get a report on the finance and administrative activities? How long would it take for you to prepare one?
For the finances,
for finances and administrative activities, a report.
well, I send a report to the commissioners every week as far as what I do
Okay,
or what everyone in the office does. Finance reports, like I said earlier, they're almost there.
Mhm.
I am able to call and get information that I need. That's why you'll notice on the last agenda where I say, we're spending X number of dollars, I can get it from this item. I can get that type of information. I'm able to do profit and loss, balance sheet, that type of stuff. The actual versus budget is where I'm still waiting on.
but once you
It can be
get
done, yeah, it can be done tediously, manually.
Okay.
For the actual versus budget, but
Yeah.
for simple, if we were talking, when you're saying, reports on the finances and administrative activities, you can produce that profit and loss, and you can produce it on a quarterly basis
Yeah.
fairly easily because you use QuickBooks, correct?
Correct.
Especially when.
It's a very simple report.
Okay,
And
so,
so on a quarterly basis, it just means that you'd be presenting something small like that, so the
To the
commission
public.
would be able to look at things, and when
And
you
the
have the
citizens.
profit and
Right.
loss, it gives you the information that would be in your budget versus actual. Basically, you can go back to your budget and say, we did this and we did that. I just thought that changing that from the end of the year to giving that physically to the public and to the commission on a quarterly basis presents a larger amount of transparency than we currently see.
Do me a favor, make that motion.
I make a motion that we make
I
that,
second it.
okay.
all right, well, we have to read off.
You have to read.
exactly what it is.
I would like to make a motion that on letter F, where it says, activities to the end of the fiscal year, we change that to quarterly.
Just as a point of information, as public, the only way you will ever know what's going on in the city is the individual audit. You get the individual audit at the end of each year, it will not agree with what you got quarterly all the time.
I second her motion.
Oh,
Call vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, opposed?
no.
Two. Okay.
Just one of those.
So that should say to the commission.
It doesn't mean the city's gonna approve it, but it's our recommendation.
Absolutely.
Submit to the board. Big report.
We're just advising.
At the end of each quarter.
Like I said, even when Scott comes and whoever else talks about it, if he has some problem why they haven't done this in the past or why he doesn't think that it could be done, let him explain that in detail.
Which one's next?
That's just extra work, that's what we're doing.
But he said it won't be much work because he's gonna have it weekly. Yes.
And it's got a QuickBooks, and it should be a quick report. Once you get it set up, you should just be able to,
I think they already know how to do it.
All right, we
Which one's
jumped
next?
from,
Gene, did we finish?
did we go through all of A, B, C? 'Cause I feel like we just jumped from
We did.
all the way to F.
but
Oh, those other ones are self.
I didn't have anything, I thought written on any of that.
Yeah, the other ones are real fine, and we went to F.
So we just jumped past F, so now we're on G. Make such other reports to the commission may require concerning operations.
And you say you do a weekly report or a monthly?
I do a weekly report.
So you do a weekly report to the commissioners
Is
that
that public knowledge? Is that public?
Anything that's in his
anything
office,
in there is public.
anything in his office, other than his wallet.
Well, I understand it, but I didn't know he did that.
I saw another charge where on G, they had the same thing written as far as make such other reports as city commissions may require concerning operations, but they also added of the city departments, office, boards, and agencies. And I don't know if that would help.
But do we need that in there?
That's a question.
Make such reports. What do you
City
currently,
departments.
Jerome, what do you currently put on your report that you send to the commissioners?
Activities that I've done or I'm taking part in, what the rest of the office does, Erin and Tasha, what the code enforcement department does and what the public works department does.
But you just started that, right? That wasn't done by Con? Did Con do that?
I don't know
We
if
don't
I don't know if she did that before.
No, I understand, I'm just saying that historically, I don't think Con ever did that.
I don't know.
But you have
We
the
can't.
commission on public works and all
Yeah.
the other.
Public
But that would be
works,
operations. I mean, theoretically, all of the other departments, they're
Our
general
operations.
operations, right?
So,
That should be fine. G should be fine. H.
H.
What are you gonna
Our
have?
officials and future needs of the city, that's fine.
Okay.
Next,
I.
We could go.
Everybody's good on I. J.
Let's go back to I.
Okay.
If you had a city administrator and a city manager, the administrator would be the one doing more by than the manager. Just concerned, that's one of the things that would change.
But I don't think we're gonna have both at the same time for a while.
Probably won't, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Some
I mean, when you look at the salary range, I don't think we're gonna.
Well, we're talking about one thing, how fast we're gonna grow.
Bro, right.
And hey,
We won't see this for another 10 years possibly.
No, we voted for 6 years.
Well, not yet.
No, we
Six years,
can't.
we didn't do it for 6
Yeah, we
years.
voted last time to change it to a
We
6-year
did vote for
review.
sure.
See, one thing that's popped up on that 6 years, if you're gonna go districts, the census is only every 10 years. And you almost gotta make the two of them work together.
yeah,
You can't be changing.
If we go into districts,
If you go into districts, then
then that would have to change back.
you would have to change back.
That was it for I. J.
Well, I'm gonna go back, because we decided not to do districts.
We did.
Yeah. So what's, when you sign up to do districts, so why are we talking about the 6 or the 10 years?
he signed up to do
I'm just saying, someday we're gonna go districts, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the charter and the districts would have to go.
We're at I.
I understand that.
Okay, so what is the question about?
That's all I'm bringing up.
You ready for K?
Did everybody approve J?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, K.
You say cake. It's cake.
Roll right through this.
all right now.
K's good.
I think K is good.
L.
Well said.
Yeah.
Let's move to M.
And it's good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Move into O, or N, I'm sorry, N.
Oh, is in there.
And
Oh, excuse me.
we're in.
Are we still, everybody good on N?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
I mean, I think,
Mr. Small, did you have a question?
No, O is in there at the request of city commissioners.
Okay.
And I got one on that. Okay, they put, appoint a commission member with technical experience. And I've said this a lot of times here. We have a lot of people in this community with massive technical experience that's more than willing to step up and say, I'll help. Why does it need to be another commission? That's my question.
a commission member.
Yeah, commission member, why can't that be changed
I have no idea. why.
to appoint a resident with the technical experience, a city resident?
How about Ann and Laura?
And that's fine too, but you know what I'm saying? I mean-
That's what I'm saying.
We got people here that,
You got city commissioners that are not always there.
well, besides that. You know,
So if I understand what you're saying, you'd like to see where it says appoint a commission member, change to appoint a commissioner.
No,
No.
commission don't need it. Commission don't need to be
You
that
can
at all.
always take commission.
Appoint
Who's
a,
a commission member?
A member.
appoint a technical expert.
person with technical experience.
So
Yes, so
Or an
when
SME.
it says commission member, who is a commission member
Commission
if it's
member
not a
with.
commissioner?
Or you put an SME, which is
There's no
subject
such
matter
thing
expert.
as a commission member.
So those words need to be changed either way. Okay, that's what I was questioning.
But like I said, that,
We're saying take commission member with out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reads, the commission may appoint a technical experience. Some
May
person.
appoint
Yeah.
a-
No, appoint a person with technical experience.
I like that person.
Yeah.
Technical experience, in a certain.
So we're gonna take out commission member and put it person.
Person with.
Okay.
Actually, we did that with, the gentleman that does our economic development.
Yes.
He was appointed just,
Ron.
That's it.
Well, here's the point of giving a salary.
And he was appointed to give a salary now. Yeah.
We did. So with this sentence where it says, but they shall have no administrative duties, would that still be correct?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're just giving technical.
they're just giving technical
Technical
advice.
advice.
Okay,
That would, what that would do is that would give somebody like the sewer system in, Indian Harbor, somebody with technical experience could go up there and watch that and tell them
What's wrong?
what's wrong. They don't have to be up there every day
Tell them what you gotta do to fix it.
and bring it back to the commission and give them a report of what happened because our project manager had nothing, didn't know nothing about that job. You know,
Okay, we have a motion
So-
to change.
so the second part of the question would be, the last sentence there where it says, this shall not restrict the other commission members. So basically, we're talking about city commissioners that are going in. So should that not say the other commissioners, commission members,
No,
No.
that should say, this shall not restrict the
the other,
person, no.
Remove the
This should
word
not,
the other commissioners, wouldn't it be?
remove the
No.
word other.
it should be technical.
This shall not restrict commission members.
Restrict.
If you wanted to leave, say.
restrict the commission member
Well, see,
from
if you
discussing
take out,
any city matter.
yeah, but if you
What?
take out commission members up top, you gotta take out this commission member
That's
down
what
below.
I'm saying, yes.
Because that is not gonna be a commission member that's coming back
But-
discussing the matter.
or,
Now, this is
Not
saying,
necessarily your,
Read the whole last sentence.
your technical person.
the last commission member, we're talking about the commissioners.
Right.
They're allowed to come talk to Jerome about anything.
Yeah, but that's who they ought to be, whoever the technical expert is talking to Jerome about it, not the commissioner.
Okay, okay.
He's talking to
okay,
Jerome.
Talking to Jerome, okay. I read it wrong, my bad. My bad. I can accept that.
Okay.
So this is Jerome's talking on his show.
Yes, sir.
Right.
This paragraph is a bridge between when commissioners used to be in charge of
Everything.
parks,
Right.
roads, this.
So that's
We
why the
took that
words
away from
commission
them. They
members
wanted
becomes
some
sort of
input
a tangled word to use there, you know, I mean,
that They can appoint.
so the idea was,
Somebody to roads if they want.
the
But
way
they
I read
didn't
it
want anybody to do it.
originally was that a commissioner,
They can't.
another commissioner who had technical expertise, they would say, oh, Ron, you have streets and roads, you can go in and talk to Jerome and help him out with this, but you being in there doesn't restrict other members of a commission, say Darwin's another commission member, doesn't restrict him from going in and talking to him in front of you. That's the way I read that. So when we change it to any person with technical assistance, then we're changing it and we have
Members
no,
coming by, yeah.
and then we have no need to have commission member down there because it wouldn't be necessarily a member of the commission that we're applying to go in and discuss this. Does that make sense?
But,
No.
but we're wrong to change that above where it says commission member. It actually meant at the
Commissioner,
time, the commissioners could appoint one of the commissioners
okay.
to
So
go be in charge of something and do something.
So I
And if
did-
they was
so I
doing
did-
that, would be one thing.
Right, so
Okay.
that, I did read it right, that was originally referring to having another commissioner go in and do work with Jerome and
Like I
get.
say, there's a bridge from there used to be Commissioner Parks, Commissioner Roads. and-
Yeah.
So it's a matter of making the semantics correct, since we don't need that bridge anymore.
I think the paragraph should stay exactly like it is. That's the way that the old commission wanted it.
Well,
Well, you know, we have to move forward in some things, I mean, I think if we make it so that we know that the commission is appointing a commissioner,
Right.
not a commission member, not a person, a commissioner, to go in and do this, then it doesn't restrict any other commissioner from discussing that city matters. Then we know it's one of those guys up there. It's not,
But what if he
So-
doesn't have technical?
That's what I'm
And
saying.
that's
Go
what
back.
Charlie's
Technical
point is.
experience.
Right.
If he ain't got the technical experience, it's gonna be a whole bunch of crap.
right, but the idea, I think the
Take the
idea
whole
was.
paragraph out, would be my, the whole paragraph shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Because this isn't something we have anymore and the commission should know it. Right?
Well, how about the commission may appoint a person with technical experience
So they already have that authority. They can appoint, hire.
To
appoint anybody they
assist.
want.
the city manager or city administrator,
City
manager, or
commissioner.
whatever you wanna call him.
And we've done that in the past.
But this was because the commissioners
Commissioners.
wanted to retain some power
Oh,
And
okay.
have other,
directly.
so it was so that
They had been
commissioners could
used
go
to
in
doing it.
and
say-
work with Jerome, for example, and no other commissions.
commissions.
So it was specific, that was why I was.
Yeah, you heard what Mr. Smuggler was saying, O should be gone.
Because it's not something that they do anymore.
No?
Should be gone.
Can we
O
read
should
that?
be under just because
Whole paragraph should be gone.
O is
Should
under
be
the
gone.
duties of the administrator.
Right, and so it's not really
This is
gone.
the commissioners,
It's-
this is a job description for commissioners.
Right.
The only, I mean, you know, because I come off of that old commission where it
Yeah.
was, everybody had a job.
And it's a.
I liked it, I'll be honest with you, because you had a belly button to go to that was elected. That the people could come up there and scream and holler and carry on with. Also, and I don't think it's happened, I haven't heard of it happening, I had solid waste. I wrote fines to the solid waste ones that was picking up, when the stuff would happen. And, you know, it's still in the contract, but who follows around to see if they do
But I mean, at this point in time, though, it's not relevant.
it? It's the
And
city
you really
manager's
think
job.
Jerome's gonna get out there and?
But when has he rode around and looked, watched them pick up crap? I'm asking that question.
But the citizens need to complain to Jerome, not the
Right.
commissioner.
Charlie, I was in charge of the police department. Guess who fired him? I did.
I'm not arguing that, I'm just saying that the commissioners had some authority on the departments they was over.
But they're not, they're.
I think O should fall underneath
Oh,
city manager's position,
It
and
should be gone.
if it's a technical experience position that is needed at the time,
Is that
it's
your
gonna
motion?
fall below the budget.
Is that your motion?
I'm speaking.
I'll make a motion.
I'm speaking. I feel like it should fall underneath his budget amount that he's authorized to spend, if it's a low technical position, but if it's something that's gonna require, like you said, someone in Oak Hill, the waste, for Indian Harbor, it's gonna be more than $5,000. It's gonna be more than what your budget amount is gonna be, so at that point, you're gonna have to get a permission from the commission anyway. So,
And when
I
I was
agree
talking
with
about having,
everyone that it should probably come out.
and when I was talking about putting a member or a city resident or whatever, the reason I was saying that is because you have a lot of city residents that will do it for nothing, just to make it happen
Yeah.
and make sure it's right. I mean, you know, and I run all the utilities at the Space Center, underground, overhead, everything else, okay? I even made an offer to go up and check on to our commission. And they told me that Tom was project manager. Okay.
Well, in one respect with Charlie, it's sort of like when Drew made the offer to assist in showing the mayor how to use QuickBooks. Yeah, and then there was this big to-do, oh no, you can't go do that. But it was exactly what it is.
Everything is political when you get to a city as we're growing, so any volunteer, you gotta know whether they got a political agenda or not.
All right,
I think that-
Ron, you had something to say?
I just wanted to ask if you'd make that motion, please, to remove O.
Okay.
I would make the motion that O be deleted from the charter.
Okay, got a
Second.
motion, got a second.
We have discussion?
Who's second?
Oh, second, well,
Doreen has a second, we have a discussion.
Yeah, O should not be in there, I agree with you, because that's the job description for the city manager. But I think the city manager, something should be there. The city manager should request that the city commissioners appoint somebody in the community that may have expertise. But he needs to ask quick, he needs to ask, because I agree with Charlie, I think there's enough people in the community that are retired that would volunteer to do something like that.
Sure.
But I think that he should ask the city commissioner to appoint somebody.
And I think he could do that. You could bring that to the commission for a,
That's.
and it wouldn't need to be something in our
No.
charter to direct you to do that, correct?
The only thing we'd have to do is make sure it got by that whoever it was, they could waive the $1 million liability insurance, and that individual had to be on, to work for the city.
That they could do, yeah.
Yeah.
You also get the labor laws involved. You can't work people for free.
If someone's
You can volunteer.
volunteering,
You can volunteer.
Volunteer for free.
you can volunteer.
But actually work them, if they're out there inspecting something and
Right.
they're actually doing a job covered by the labor department.
any more discussion on our second?
Wouldn't, okay, if we're gonna delete O, wouldn't I give him the authority
Yes.
to get someone?
Yes, absolutely, it would be covered by your correct.
Good pickup.
Wouldn't I?
There you go.
But also where the commissioners have the authority to appoint boards about anything they want. That gives them the authority to appoint experts too. It's in both places.
All right.
Okay, any more discussion before we vote? Take a vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposes? None. Okay, remove O. Section 6.03, removal. Yes, Mr. Cummins?
I read that, and I think that we should, add something to it, and I'm gonna read to you guys what what I came up with. I think it should say, the city commission may remove the city administrator or the manager at any time for, not with or without cause, but for failure to perform his or her duties as a city administrator / manager.
I disagree.
Why?
And the reason I disagree,
Because, and the reason I say that is because I just don't like the fact of a person saying that because they don't like me, they can get rid of me. And I know Florida is a right to work state.
But you,
Still has to be a vote.
but you don't want to put anything in there that you can't prove. And most times when you're getting rid of somebody, if you go to court, you can't prove what you said you did. It's hard to prove that they didn't do their job right. They say, the person not doing their job right, but the judge will say, you hired them, you based on that, that's all the ability they have.
So the terms with or without cause will be based
The
on.
with or without cause.
Without cause, you don't have to prove anything.
It fits the same way that all your managers, directors, and all this work. You was an at-will employee. That means, and you've seen it happen, they say you come to work one morning, you got an office and there's security standing outside the office, you got boxes there, and they said you load your boxes up, you're leaving. You was an at-will employee. You didn't have to do anything. You was just gone.
Yeah, but that's, I know Florida is a right to work state and they can get rid of you for nothing, basically. But I was just saying that, you know, as a city, I'm looking at it as like city manager, you want him to know he's putting some skin in the game. And I you know, like I say, I may be looking at it wrong, or I may be looking at it differently. But when I read that told me that, hey, I can bust my behind, I can make this city and do this and get all this here for this city. And if somebody don't like me, they can sway somebody else's mind.
I think that's pretty much in the state charter. If you get, say you get 5 new commissioners, they should have the right to hire a new city manager.
Understand?
That's why you can get rid of it without a reason. You
So
can
that's
just get
why-
rid of it.
Right.
So that's why in this removal is with and without cause. That's why it's there.
With or without.
With or without.
Can I give you an example?
Yes, sir.
Prior to Con, we had a city administrator that told us some stories. Everything is sugar coated, everything's wonderful, da, 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 da. Well, some of us figured it out, and some didn't. It still took 3 commissioners to terminate her that day.
Okay.
She sat there and said, you have to give me a reason. I sat there and said, no, bye-bye. Just that quick.
So that would be the
And most
purpose.
of your city manager is gonna have a contract with the city anyway. But you have a contract with the city, don't you?
And so for-
Does that help you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm
Are we good with that?
Contracting,
A new commission should have the right to get their own city manager.
understand. Okay.
So we okay?
I'll make a motion. Yeah, we okay.
We're okay.
Charlie gotta go eat, y'all.
What about,
Before we still have to.
one question I have, what about city employees?
That doesn't the city administrator, the city manager.
There you go.
So can the city commission turn around and say, Jerome, I don't like Charlie here. We don't want Charlie Dean to be the whatever,
No.
and you can fire him.
No.
They can say it, but he don't have to do it.
And that's a lawsuit.
That's a lawsuit altogether.
All right, we have to, before we go, we have to set the agenda for next week. We're not done with section 6, because we still have, 6.04.
604.
Almost, yeah.
No, everybody look at 604. We had a hard time writing that first time around.
Yeah.
We look at that.
I'm reading, it was,
It's difficult to read, you have to read it 3 or 4 times, but
Yeah.
it's, the way I read it is if I'm going to leave of absence, I as a city manager can appoint somebody to take my position in interim basis, like I get approved by the city commissioners. That's what I read. But it's hard to read.
And until you return, that person will be in your spot.
and they have all signing authorities.
Yes.
You heard that one too, I think.
Yes.
They have all signing authorities of that position. And that stops the commission from jumping in and trying to tell them what to do, if he gives them all signing authority.
But it does allow the city commissioners, if they don't like the guy that appointed, they can sit there and appoint somebody else they want to.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we have on the agenda for next week? What do we want to go back over or for the next step?
I think, I think what I'd like to have done in the next meeting is to go over all the changes we made, summarize them, because we're almost done at this point in time, just make sure we're all on the same page, that way
All
we're
the
reading all the changes that have been made before, because next time we'll bring in Scott or somebody else to look at it.
I was gonna make a suggestion that whatever changes that we're making, we go in and we can line them out on the computer. You can go in and put in red what we've changed. Line out what we took out, put in red what we've done. That way, whenever we open it up, we can go down each line item and see what was changed and what wasn't changed.
Would you want that available for next meeting?
It'd be nice.
Yeah, we make that request.
Oh man, you guys are killing me.
Pardon? Pardon?
I said, you guys are killing me.
Oh,
We'll make it happen. We'll make it
Yes,
happen.
Grant.
If you guys remember when we first started down this road, Appendix A was not found on file with the city clerk back there under 2.01 regarding corporate boundary. And we had agreed we would see what was going on with that. I know research has been done on many of our parts here, and we're working on getting that. I would like to see us get some kind of an update. We now have a copy of the 1990, what year is this? 1994 charter. That is the last one I found that has the meets and bounds, the actual 30 pages or so of the actual meets and bounds. And I know Jerome is talking to someone, so I think perhaps next week we should look at that section there regarding Appendix A and maybe get an updated idea of it.
Would anyone want an email of that?
I've never seen it before, I like to sit
Yeah.
there and see it every time.
Does anybody have the ability to read legal descriptions other than me?
Yes,
What now?
Meets and bounds?
yes.
Yeah, I can do it. I just have real
Well,
estate
I did
stuff.
the many appointages.
The point of it was
My
that
wife
in
keeps the
this,
brokers.
in this charter, it starts at Article 2 and it says municipal boundaries, City of Oak Hill, beginning act, page 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
We would probably less out so many properties.
Each one of those properties is like
Organizations.
$4,000 or $5,000 to put on a home.
Right, right, no, and it's not,
That's why.
my point isn't that we wanna put it in. My point is, until we questioned and wanted to see it, no one knew it didn't exist. So now, because we took it out of the hat and we've asked the question, where is it, how does it exist? I think the agreement can be, now we have to make it exist. Whether we make it exist from a 1994 version that we figure is close enough for government work, or whether we take the 1994 version and Jerome goes back to the city commission and however it has to be done, we actually define the territorial boundaries of the city. We can't say in the charter that Appendix A, which includes the boundaries, is in the city clerk's office if A, we don't have it, and B, we don't know what it is.
So you're saying
That is
create-
not the, boundaries of the city at this point in time.
Correct,
So we cannot put that in our charter,
right,
okay? All that can be is a historical document,
correct.
okay? Now, to get the boundaries, you gotta have the new one, because they have changed, I know,
Right,
about 4 times.
right.
It's
So-
it's in the county.
So my
Pardon?
point
Is
is,
that
I
county?
think,
And the county should have it.
The county has it.
Well, the supervisor, the election supervisor's office has got that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's there. It's the only way they can
is
know.
that the only person we have?
There you go.
To vote, whether you're in the city or not.
That's it.
But I think we should maybe spend a minute revisiting that. We'll give, it'll give Jerome and Aaron another week to see if we can figure out what the new information is. And if you want a copy of this, I can email it to you to get
I
your.
don't, I don't know if I want to read it or not.
Sure, go on.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be able to be here next week. I have to take my wife to the eye doctor. She had emergency eye surgery last week. Hold on, wait a minute. She had surgery Tuesday and she had she had 2 surgeries in a week. So last Thursday she had surgery. And last week she had surgery, so.
You know what I thought you were gonna tell me?
What?
That you had eye problem. That you couldn't see coming next week.
No, she can't drive,
So
so.
go back to your suggestion, and this is what we did last time. Someone needs to take every page we made a change on and retype that page so we can look at it at the next meeting.
But we need to make a change in the fonts or the colors,
Yeah, someplace.
something to be able to tell
What changed?
what was changed. And what I would do is just, I would make copies of this one that we got and line it out, just line it out, and type in what we put in.
Like
Is this
pages like
document
this.
available?
That's what I'm talking about.
Is the 2014 document available in the Word document?
Yes.
I'd like to volunteer to do that so it's done, so that you and Aaron don't have to do that.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
You can
That
send
helps
it.
a lot.
Send it directly to him, not to us.
Correct, he's
Yeah.
going to send it to me, I'm going to make the changes that I've noted, and
Send it
then
back.
I'll send it back to Jerome. If
Okay.
that's okay with everyone.
I send it out.
If that's okay, I have the tech skills and the computer to be able to do this, and it's not a huge deal.
What you gonna charge the city?
Not gonna charge the city anything, I'm volunteer.
So are we gonna talk about A next month, next week?
I think we should revisit that
Well, I would
appendix A
I
first.
don't wanna read that, that's too much information.
Oh, it's ridiculous, but we have to have it on file
I
here
agree,
somewhere.
but if we talk about it, can somebody just get a draft of the city of Oak Hill and just sort of put in red what we actually done?
We actually have a zoning map.
Well, somebody can bring the map out,
Yeah.
where's I think you're saying, I wanna look at a map, I don't wanna sit there and read 1/4 degree from 364.
Map is pretty good size, it's pretty big.
Well, I'd like to see it.
We can
I
just-
want to-
That's why I said, I went, that's.
Bring it in, we'll look at it.
Where's the look at it?
There you go.
All right, so we're gonna discuss, basically preview what we just went through with Drew, and it's going to create a
And that's fair
document
time.
for us to look at, and I don't know if that'll be done
That'll be done.
prior to our meeting to where anyone could get it, review it before our meeting, or will we?
I got one question, if I can back up. We have that city map. I trust that map pretty implicitly, but everybody knows what a future land use map is. That one should actually be more accurate for a boundary, right? Than what that is. Because that basically shows what each future land use is, but it shows the boundary more clearly than what that one does, right?
Yeah.
That map is easy, and that's updated, what, every year?
Yeah, and it's all
It's been updated this
Sorry?
year. It was updated this year, I believe.
How about both of them, just for giggles? How about both?
Make a motion with adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I said
You
it.
want a second, all in favor? Aye.
How long do you think?
We're done paying Jerome overtime, and he's ready to go to Sabat.